I researched over 100 studies on fat loss and discovered the easiest way to get lean. When I implemented this for myself, I lost 12 pounds of fat in 3 months and I got to my dream physique. I discovered that the keto diet is the most efficient way to do this, but I also learned that most people do it wrong. In fact, the best thing you can do is an animal-based keto diet. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why that's the case. So if you follow all of the action steps in this video, you do everything right, then I promise you, you're guaranteed to build your dream physique. You're guaranteed to shred fat. You're guaranteed to put on muscle. And you're guaranteed to build that physique that you always dreamed of. So when I first got on this diet, I shredded fat like crazy. I went from 185 to 165. And I was literally in a bulk. I was in a caloric surplus. And I couldn't understand how I was losing weight so fast. Like, how am I losing pounds? I'm eating like 12 eggs a day, 2 pounds of meat, and I still just lost weight like fucking crazy, bro. And I started doing some digging, right? Because this defies calories in, calories out, right? I was in a surplus, but I was losing weight. How is that even possible? That doesn't make any sense according to the logic that's all we know, bro. That's literally all we've ever heard, right? And so I did some digging, and what I realized is it's just right in front of our face, bro, is that calories are not even a measure of weight. They're a measure of heat being escaped from the body. Instead, what we need to look at as grams, because grams are the real measure of weight. So let's take this model for a second. So 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. 1 gram of carb has 4 calories. 1 gram of protein also has 4 calories. So what this practically means is that when you're eating carbs, you're putting twice as many grams, more than twice as many, for the same amount of energy, the same amount of calories when you compare it to fat. And so that's why I lost the weight so easily, is because now I had so much less weight that I was actually putting inside of my body. And so I just shredded the fucking weight like crazy, bro. And this is why most people's bulks and most people's cuts are inefficient. Most people who try and lose fat, when they enter a caloric surplus, they're still eating high carb. So they still have a lot of weight in their body, and they really end up only losing weight. They don't truly lose fat. And when someone's in a bulk and they're trying to put on muscle, right? They have so much more weight in their body that what they're really putting on is fat instead of muscle, right? The point of a bulk is not to put on fat. The point is to put on muscle. Now, the next reason why I shredded this fat so quickly was because I wasn't spiking my insulin anymore. And so insulin is your fat storing hormone. This is basically the hormone that opens the trap door to fat gain. And when you stop spiking your insulin, the crazy thing is you never put on fat. And so what spikes your insulin? Well, processed carbs, sugar, that's it. That's what spikes your insulin. And when you cut that shit out, you will never gain fat again. So animal-based foods, high fat, high protein foods, zero spike to your insulin at all. And that's why there's so many stories of people who get on an animal-based keto carnivore diet. They lose hundreds of pounds of fat, like just effortlessly, easily. These are the reasons why. It's because they're never spiking their insulin anymore. So if you want to get truly lean, if you want to truly build muscle, then you gotta fucking cut out carbs, bro. Now, you might be wondering, well, what if I go to the gym? Don't I need carbs for muscle? And as you can tell by these 2 pictures of my physique, I literally didn't lose any muscle mass when I lost this weight, bro. I gained muscle, I gained strength while I was losing weight. This is like the best of both worlds. Like when you cut, typically, your strength goes down, with the weight and stuff, and you lose muscle. But the crazy thing is that I was actually gaining muscle, and this is because this diet is rich in saturated fat and cholesterol. And these are like the building blocks for testosterone, right? You need testosterone for muscle. And not to mention is that meat has all of the nutrients you need. It has every single nutrient you need in the right amount. So like, now I was fueling my body with the right construction blocks. I was filling my body with the right nutrients that it needs for muscle growth. And so my body could function so much better. I was having better workouts. Everything started to improve. Now the next thing you need to understand is that meat, high-fat foods have extremely high bioavailability. And what this means is that basically the food has a higher percentage of how many of the nutrients that you can absorb. So if you compare a piece of meat and a potato, the nutrients inside are much less bioavailable than the steak. So like you can absorb more of the nutrients in the steak than you can in the potato. So we want to be eating the steak because it has got more of the nutrients that we can absorb in our body that we need. If you found this information helpful and you want to take all the guesswork out of building a lean aesthetic body, then click the link below to access my full aesthetic body course. Now you also might be wondering about energy. Well, don't I need carbs for energy, right? And I'm going to tell you no. And I'm going to tell you that when you get fat adapted, bro, when you enter ketosis, it will change your fucking life. Because, you know, I'm coming from a place of like, I used to have terrible energy, bro. I was constantly dipping down all the time. Most days I was literally just waking up tired, bro. And I needed pre-workout for every single workout. I literally relied on like 400 milligrams of caffeine for every single workout, bro. And so when I tell you that it's life-changing, I mean it, because now I have energy literally for the entire day. I have energy for the entire day. I don't bog down anymore. There's so much more I can do with my day now, and I'm really starting to realize my true potential, that I'm capable of so much more than I originally thought it was, because now that my energy has improved so much and it's so much, I just feel so much more capable. I have so much more bandwidth inside of myself to, you know, run, go to the gym, work for hours, class, you know, all this different stuff, right? Now I'm ready to go. Like before I felt like there was like an invisible wall, like a force holding me back, but now I'm like fucking ready to go. And I want you to like step into this state too. I want you to be healthy, right? This is the proper human diet. I want you to feel how humans should feel. So let's dive into the science a little bit about what really happens to your energy when you enter ketosis. So when you enter ketosis, your liver starts producing ketones as your new energy source. You start to run off your fat. And so what happens is your mitochondria, you start to produce more mitochondria. So you get more powerhouses, and what happens is these powerhouses start to become more efficient. They work better with less effort. So your energy actually becomes much better than a mitochondria on a carb-inclusive diet. And on top of this now, you're running off of your fat stores instead of your glycogen tank. And your fat stores, a skinny kid, a skinny motherfucker, this guy has like 100,000 calories of energy in his fat stores. 100,000 calories. But when you're accessing your glycogen tank, you only have about 3,000 calories. So that's why your energy keeps bogging up and down and up and down and up and down. And that's why you see those marathon runners, they eat those like little sugar goo things because they constantly keep running out of energy. But there's plenty of Ultraman, high performance athletes who are in ketosis, and they don't have to do that shit, bro. They run off of their fat stores. So they have constant energy. They have energy all the time. Okay, let's move on to the action steps. So what do we practically do with all this information, everything I've discussed? The first thing we need to do is we need to drastically cut our carb consumption and drastically increase our fat consumption. So, you know, all the pasta, all the grains, all the bread, just throw all that shit out, bro, because we don't want that shit anymore. What we need to do is we need to go to the store, and mainly what we're looking for here is like fatty meats. So if you get chicken breasts, go for the chicken thighs. If you get 93.7 ground beef, go for the 27.73 ground beef. Just look for the fatty cuts of meat, because the fat is the fuel. The fat's the energy. So we need high fat. And any kind of meat is good. Like any kind of meat is, you can eat it. It doesn't really matter. And we also need to do is you can look for eggs, you can look for cheese, get butter. Butter is especially important because we need butter for the fat. We need butter to cook our eggs in, just to up for the fat intake, because what we're aiming for in this diet is a 70-30 fat to protein ratio. So 70% of the calories come from fat and 30% come from protein. Some people do 80-20, but the way to tell is basically you just have to check your poop. So basically, if you have loose stools or you have diarrhea, that means you ate too much fat. And if you're like constipated, that means you didn't eat enough fat. So just go off of that. Now let's go over some key pitfalls that happen when you transfer into ketosis. The first one is that when you start ketosis, when you cut the carbs, you're gonna go through a period where this shit sucks, bro. Like when I first started, the first week was alright, but then the second week was pretty miserable for me. Like basically you're gonna go through something called keto flu, and what keto flu is like, it's basically the period where your body is transitioning from running off of carbs to now fat. So you have to give your body some time to, you know, learn. You've been eating carbs your entire life, so you have to give your body that time to, you know, transition. And, you know, I experienced migraines. I had worse energy than before. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And the ways that I could have done this better is you want to make sure that you're salting your food extra because your electrolytes kind of go worse. They dip down, so you want to up the salt intake a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the longer you stay on the diet, the more you do it, the better you're going to feel over time. And like that adaptation takes anywhere from like 1 to 3 months for most people. Some people take longer. It's like a genetic thing, I think. It just varies between people. But yeah, most people can expect 1 to 3 months. And, you know, just know that the longer you stay on the diet, the better you're going to feel every single day. And I promise, like, it'll just be this positive feedback loop because you'll want to keep on doing it. Now, a common limiting belief that people have on this diet is, oh, you know, I could never stick to something this strict. Like, oh, I could never do that, right? And, like, I had the exact same belief. And, like, my goal, I wasn't even trying to stick to it long term. I was just like, oh, I was hearing so much about it. I was hearing all these benefits. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to try for a month, see what happens. And if I don't like it, then, you know, I'll just go back. But, you know, I found that the longer I did it, the easier it became to stick to it because I started to feel so much better that just like my body was just craving it. I started to develop craving for meat and eggs. Like, how crazy is that? Like, most of my life I had cravings for fucking like Five Guys and shit, you know? So like, just that switch was like super life-changing to now be craving the healthy, good foods. Like, that in itself was amazing. And so, yeah, it just became like this positive feedback loop where, you know, I'd eat the healthy foods, it'd give me energy, make me feel good, and then I would crave more of it. And I just easily was able to resist the food that wasn't good for me. So if you follow everything that I've discussed in this video, you're going to build the body of your dreams. It's literally guaranteed. There's no like thinking anymore. Like, just follow this plan, stick to it, and you will become so muscular, become so lean. Your brain will feel so much better. You'll have so much energy, and you know, it will change your life. So it's possible, bro. It's possible to feel better. We just have to take the steps. We have to push through the periods where it's tough, you know, to get to the end result. But, you know, I just want to thank you for watching this video, man. And I will see you in the next one.